At MedStory, we take privacy seriously and follow all healthcare privacy laws. Some details may be changed to protect confidentiality. The views expressed are solely those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views of their employer.
Was there ever a point where you felt like you were overbooking yourself? Because the idea of someone running a growing business and then deciding to enroll in a PhD program probably seems a little crazy to most people.
Yeah, it was. It gets even better. I started my first day of class for my doctoral program the day my oldest was born.
Welcome to the MedStory Podcast. I'm Spencer Locke, and today we're sharing the story of Dr. John Torrens. He's a speech-language pathologist who has his PhD and then turned into a healthcare entrepreneur before becoming a professor. But don't let this title fool you, because this story, it starts with a saxophone. Imagine this. You're 18, you're jazzed, you're ready to go and become a music major in college. You think you've got this figured out, but then one day,
I decided to leave music school when I had to do an observation on an elementary school clarinet lesson in town. It's pretty rough. And so I did that, and I thought there's no way I can do this for the rest of my life.
And just like that, he quit music. No backup plan, just a shift to psychology. Because, why not?
I switched from music to psychology as my major. And fast forward to my senior year, didn't realize what I was going to do with a psych degree, except go to grad school.
So he did what many of us do when we feel unsure. He ended up applying to grad school. And that is where life took a very unexpected turn. John gets into a clinical psych program, but before he can celebrate, the program informs him that they might be shutting down the program before he finishes. So instead, they offer him a list of alternatives.
I liked linguistic psychology a lot, and I thought this would be a good fit. So I decided to go into speech-language pathology without too much thought. I'm embarrassed to say that what became my career was given very little serious thought.
How does this happen so frequently in life? We spend so much time carefully plotting every move, but it's these moments that we end up just making a choice and moving forward that can make the most sense in the moment. To pay for grad school, John ended up taking a deal with New York State. They'd agree to cover his degree as long as he gave 3 years of service to an underserved area. He only lasted 1.
I left after a year. And so I had to pay back the money, interest, and fees. It was a ridiculous amount of money I had to pay back.
Now, most of us would have panicked and settled for a safe job. But no, not John.
My control or sovereignty of my own time was probably the most important value. I didn't realize it maybe at the time. I've come to realize it now. That's really important to me, is being able to do the work I like to do, when I like to do it, where I like to do it.
He went all in, started his own practice all from scratch. And this is without business training, no roadmap, just a need for income and a belief that he could do it better. His first client, a coworker with a voice issue. Then he got connected with the county's early intervention program, seeing toddlers in their homes, one visit at a time.
My day was pretty busy. I was out there, doing visit after visit, driving around, seeing kids and families in their homes or daycares, and that kept me busy.
Eventually, his caseload filled up. He had hit his ceiling, and at this point, had to ask himself a really important question. Can I do this for the rest of my life? And will I be happy? For him, the answer was no. He wanted something bigger. So he decided to hire his first employee. And that is when his business started to grow.
So once I got out of doing the work of the business and looking at the business and doing the work of managing and running the business, that's when we grew. That's when we got more profitable. That's when really fun and interesting things started to happen.
Now, I have talked to hundreds of healthcare entrepreneurs at this point, and this exact thing comes up time and time again. When you are getting into business, you need to ask yourself this really important question. Are you trying to create a job for yourself where you can have the freedom to treat how you want? If so, amazing. Now, if you are looking instead to create a business where you are no longer seeing the patients and being the business owner, that is a totally different skill set and mindset that you need to think about. So yes, the idea of hiring someone can be scary, but if you're trying to build a business, it's going to be essential. Now back to our story. You remember the quote at the beginning?
My first day of class for my doctoral program, the day my oldest was born.
I mean, who does that? You're already running a successful business, but then you want to learn more. So you decide to enroll in a doctoral program on the same day that you're welcoming your firstborn child? It sounds crazy, right? But I quickly came to understand that he was at a point in his life where he was so hungry for knowledge and he was going to do whatever it took to make it work.
I used my business as the project, and it was able to get very sophisticated, and it was able to scale relatively quickly just because now I had that knowledge and I was able to apply it to something directly.
But this success came at a cost.
That is the point in my life where I probably became the least healthy. I was gaining weight. All my biomarkers were going in the wrong direction.
This is something I find really interesting about us in the healthcare entrepreneurial space, is that we are in this space to try to help people live better and happier, healthier lives. But at the same time, we often neglect our own well-being, and this can no longer be the case. If we want sustainability, then slowing down can be so key, and he made that super clear to me.
So I think that would be the thing. It's just slow the heck down a little bit and be a little more conscious in decision-making.
Now, at this point of the story, John ends up selling his business. And just when we thought he was done, he decided to go and become a professor.
I got destroyed on my first course eval. I remember one of the students, I still have it somewhere in my office. The student feedback was, Professor Torrens is a triple threat of disorganization, stupidity, and ignorance.
Now, this wasn't the first time that John had faced adversity. He took courses, found mentors, and eventually,
I went on to win teaching awards at the university and be recognized by the department. And so I've gotten better, but it was a wake-up call at first. It was something I actually enjoyed, but I was terrible at. But it was fun to improve. And I've been doing it 16 years now, and you're constantly improving.
There's something about entrepreneurship. It has a way of pulling you back in, even when you think it's left you behind. For John, that meant buying back into the space that he once exited. First, by helping a nonprofit acquire his former company, then by forming a joint venture, making a couple acquisitions, and stitching together 3 companies under one umbrella. Today, John is a part owner of 3 healthcare companies, supporting over 225 clinicians. But here's the cool thing. He doesn't run the day-to-day anymore.
I'm an owner, board member, shareholder, but it's really more an advisory capacity.
This is the dream that many of us have when we step into entrepreneurship, to one day step out of the day-to-day grind and watch something that we've built continue to grow, all while giving us the time and financial freedom to actually live life on our terms. For John, this is what that looks like. He's no longer managing operations. He's an owner, a board member, and an advisor. And now he's helping shape what's to come next.
The most likely pathway for us is to execute some sort of employee ownership transition. We can take chips off the table as owners, and the employees would then own the company.
And after that, well, let's just say that the next chapter might involve a few less emails and a few more waves.
Hopefully I'll still be teaching because I love it. It's very low wear and tear on the body. It's very stimulating. I adore working with undergraduates and graduate students too. And we have a home in Costa Rica. So maybe I'll improve my surfing a little bit more, get a little better than I am now. I mean, who knows, right? We've got some property that we could work with. There's, some cool things on the horizon.
So I'll leave you with this. What does success really look like to you? And I mean, really think about this. Do you want more clients, more revenue, more scale? Or maybe you just want a little bit more peace, more control, maybe a little bit more freedom. For John, he didn't follow a perfect plan, but he has now built something that's real and something that's lasted. And he decided to let go of it and share it with others. And this has provided him the opportunity to live the life that he has always dreamt of. Now, this may sound like a distant dream, but anything is possible if you start building today. Thanks for listening to the MedStory Podcast, where we share the stories of the greatest minds in science and medicine. I'm your host, Spencer Locke, with a special thanks to our executive producer, Shina May. Our music comes from Blue Dot Sessions and the Descript Audio Library. The MedStory Podcast is made possible by MedStory Studios and listeners like you. So if you'd like to support us, please leave a review. It means more than you know. And if you have a story to share or want to produce a podcast of your own, reach out to us at info@medstorymedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode.